All right. Hello, class.
Hi, Mr. Forde.
Hey, Grant. Today we'll be talking about annotating literature, which I know is sometimes not students' favorite thing because it slows you down as you read and it can kind of feel like a chore. But what I hope to show you today is how annotating can actually really help you in the reading process and help you bring a lot more meaning to what you're reading and actually help you enjoy it a lot more because you'll see a lot more of the story and a lot more of the literary elements that are at play, and hopefully it'll start to feel a bit less like a chore. So annotating can be split up into three ways that it helps you, and those are also kind of the three steps to the annotating process. First is the simplest. Annotating just helps you take down your thoughts and remember them by putting them in writing. Second, annotating can help you work through things that are confusing you by looking for clues, taking note of what you don't understand, and eventually, if you write enough notes about confusion and saying maybe this means this, it can really help you actually work through that confusion. And then finally, once you've put down initial thoughts and once you've worked through your confusion a little bit, it can really help you lock in your understanding to finally synthesize your sort of understanding that you've gained of the text. So we've been reading Macbeth as a class for a couple weeks now, so you all should be familiar with it. This is from Act 5, Scene 1, when Lady Macbeth is sleepwalking and having a bit of a meltdown. And so it's a great passage to look at for examples of how annotating can help us out because it can be a bit of a confusing passage. And so we're going to try to get a little more meaning from it. So first off, we're going to do step one of sort of remembering, taking down your thoughts. So Grant, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, thanks. I was thinking this is kind of the biggest reminder that I had from this little thing was just how crazy Lady Macbeth is, because she's just talking to a spot. She's just completely delusional and thinks that no one can ever get near her or Macbeth after they kill Duncan.
Yeah, great. Really great. So Lady Macbeth, crazy plus delusional, as shown by this passage. So step two, either Thomas or Joe, do you want to point to something that confused you in the passage?
Yeah, I was a little bit confused near the top where she says, hell is murky. I'm not quite sure what that means.
Yeah, so that's definitely one of the parts of this passage that is confusing. And she's kind of jumping around. It's like, who is she talking to? What is she talking about? That's great. So if you don't understand something, it's okay to just point it out and you can work through it later. So Joe, anything that confused you?
So she's talking about Macbeth when she says a soldier.
Yeah.
And a fearedom, it's a little confusing to me, but I'm wondering why she's questioning it if she's talking about her brother.
Yeah, well, not her brother, her husband.
Her husband.
But yeah, so
Okay.
so why is she asking this of Macbeth? You know, the murders are done, what's going on? Great.
Why is it a question?
So what's happening here and what Grant kind of touched on early on, and the way we're going to jump to step 3 and use what we've done to get into a real understanding is by putting this all together and saying, okay, so here she is yelling at this spot of blood, like, go away, like, I don't want a memory of the bad things I've done. But then why is she mentioning hell? And I think it's, and then she's yelling at her husband, so how do all these things fit together? I think she's mentioning hell because she's afraid of going there. And she's really feeling, you can tell because of the lines at the bottom where she's, worried about the blood that the man had in him. You can tell that she's feeling a lot of guilt, but she's also still feeling a lot of arrogance, and that's something that Grant touched on, where she's kind of delusional. She's saying that we're so powerful, none can call our power to account. So I think the answer, Joe, to your question about Macbeth is that she's jumping back in time to before the murders happened, and she's taunting him, and so and also she's asleep when all of this is happening. So what this passage reveals to us, and the final thing that we'll write down to lock in our understanding, is that Lady Macbeth has no sense of what's going on, and that she's jumping between sort of being arrogant, being scared, being regretful, and yet having no regrets at all. And so it's just shown that while Macbeth, he responded with really breaking down and becoming sad, she has just lost it completely. So really great job, you guys. So Lady Macbeth, we can just say unhinged. And
Is it a sudden shift to arrogance in the middle of the passage there?
Yeah, it is. And that one thing that sudden shift reveals is that she's not really.
In denial.
Yeah. And she's asleep, so she's kind of. There are a lot of layers of her psyche going on there. But anyway, we're out of time, so let's get together and do a little academic cheer to kind of lock in what we learned today. So let's stand up. You guys did a great job. And so to remember the 3 steps of annotating, or the 3 ways that annotating can help you, we're going to do a cheer based around those 3 steps. So first, I'm going to say, remember your thoughts, decipher clues, and then the 3 of you are going to say lock in understanding, okay?
Alright.
All right. Remember your thoughts, decipher clues.
Lock in
Your
understanding.
understanding.
Woo! Thank you.